Let's examine the Huth Psalter here on the British Library's Catalogue of Illuminated Manuscripts. Now, this particular Psalter is from England, and it's thought to be from the late 13th century. This is going to place it pretty squarely in the Gothic period. And I chose this particular page because it demonstrates many of the major tropes of illuminated manuscripts from the Gothic period. Looking at the page as a whole right here, we can see that it is a full page initial, the letter B. Now, since this is a Psalter or a book of Psalms, it makes some sense to imagine that this B, without being able to fully see the next page, that this B will be the first letter of the psalm on the following page. So the best guess that we have here is that the B is the beginning of the phrase Beatus vir, which is Latin for blessed is the man. And Psalm 1 happens to start with the phrase, blessed is the man. So this could be the beginning for Psalm 1. If we go ahead and take a closer look where we zoom in, we can see that this is a full page historiated initial. A historiated initial is a scene within a letter. And this particular one contains the tree of Jesse, which was a major trope of the Gothic period. The tree of Jesse shows a dreaming Jesse right here, and literally the tree that sprouts from him are his descendants to come. So we can see King David, and scrolling on up, we see the Christ child and Mary, and then even Christ as he grows to become the man Jesus. Now, the tree of Jesse makes a lot of sense to have in Psalters because King David himself, or the son of Jesse, is said to have written the Psalms. Now, we can see here that what I just pointed out, as we grow from Jesse in the tree of Jesse, there is a hierarchy here. It's not necessarily a hierarchy as shown from the size of the figures, but in their placing within the image. Jesse is the base of this particular tree, but then we can see that they grow in importance as the tree grows, with King David, and then later with the Christ child, and then as he becomes the Lord Savior as an adult. Within this particular page, there is also a lot of heavy use of red and blue, which was another major theme within Gothic imagery. And if you look to the right of the image, you can even see a bit of the adjoining page. There are a few decorated initials that we can see on the side, on the right of the screen over here, in red and blue. And that was also a common practice in the Gothic period as a means of separating chapters or key lines in biblical text. This whole entire page is also very reminiscent of a stained glass window, as most Gothic imagery was. And then finally, within some of the sides over here, we can see some of these animals that are worked into the margins over here, into the curlicues of the bee itself. And the animals along this edge, at least they seem to me, especially these ones up here, they seem to be reminiscent of Celtic imagery left over from the insular period a few hundred years before. Now, that could simply be a coincidence, or perhaps because this is an English Psalter, it could be leftover style that was maintained or mimicked throughout Ireland and England even into the late Middle Ages.